Yes, people, how we doing? Welcome back to the channel. Me and Lee haven't spoke on here for a while, and there's been a lot going on. So I thought we'd do it today. There's been lovely sunshine. The sun has been beaming. If I'm honest with you, it's brilliant to see. I must say that. It's brilliant to see. One good thing that's happened is the sunshine has come out. One bad thing that's happened is it's been a strange 72 hours, as far as Arsenal are concerned, on and off the pitch. We've just been speaking about another sport which has gone wrong for us because we're both Ronnie O'Sullivan fans, and it looks like he could be getting knocked out. Arsenal have got a lot to do on Wednesday, and Manchester United and Tottenham have got 1 foot in the Europa League final. That's where I want to start, league judges, because as much as we can talk Arsenal on here a lot, we don't always talk about other teams. Last night made me feel a little bit sick, bruv. I can't even lie to you. And I feel like cheated out of it because I feel like Tottenham and United, and I know people will say this is bitter and twisted and jealousy and all that, and maybe it is a bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's the easiest Europa League I've ever seen in my life. We've got the 15th place and 14th place teams that have got 1 foot in the final of the Premier League. Across Europe, that is embarrassing. We've got no Champions League teams dropping down into it for the first time due to the new format of the Champions League. And one of those are probably going to end up lifting silverware when they've had one of the dustiest teams, dustiest managers and dustiest seasons in the whole of their history, mate. What is going on, bruv?
Into Toto Cup in it now, like, you know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. Listen, how can two teams who have been, would be realistically, if there was 3 teams, decent teams coming up this season, they would have been in a relegation scrap. They would have been playing West Ham to say who's going to survive in the Premier League. That's how bad Tottenham have been. And here they are in a Europa League final, playing a semi-final, by the way, against a Bodo team that I can tell. I've been to Bodo. It's got two restaurants. It's got 2 hotels, one good, one bad. The one that Arsenal Stadium was good. The one we Stadium was bad. A couple of pubs and a skyline. That's all it's got, like, you know what I mean? So the Northern Lights, that's it. A boat comes in every now and then. It is, you know what I mean, unbelievable, like, you know. And there they are in a major, they tell me, like, European trophy, like, you know. So listen, at the end of the day, you know, that's what I say about cup competitions. You know, you've only got to be good on certain days and have a little bit of luck, ride the luck a little bit, and there you are in a final. It's, you know, you're telling me Arsenal have been fantastic this year and are the second, fourth, third best team in Europe? No, not on my watch. They're not. It's just the way sometimes it can go. You need a little bit of luck of the draw. Tottenham have had the luck of the draw. Manchester United have had more luck than anybody. And you know, listen, I come from a Tottenham area, and today, Dan, I have seen so many of them wearing Tottenham shirts out today. They've got no what's name, you know what I mean? No filter, those Spurs fans. They've been slagging their manager off and the club off all season, gone on process, and now they are. They've beaten Bodo in the semi-final, and there they are, all got their shirts out and everything like that, like, you know. And I'll tell you what, I've seen about 6 of them with the brown ones on. You know what I mean? They look like a fucking lump of shit. You know what I mean? I actually told one of them the day as I ran off. You know what I mean? Like, you know, as I wound down my window and sped off. Boy, you look like
that has got to be the worst kit
of
any Premier League side. Why would you have bought that? Oh,
but, like, you know, and of course you get the odd one. We done better than you on the other night. You know what I mean? I said, yeah, I'm not surprised you did. You know what I mean? You weren't playing a team like we was playing. But yeah, look, listen, they're in the final. Good luck to them. You know, listen. I want Man United to win 2 games a season, 3 games a season if they're playing in the cup. This time I want them to win 4. And at the end of the day, they've played them 3 times so far this season, Tottenham. Beat them every time. It would be funny if they the one that really matters, they don't win, like, you know. But as Ange says, they win something in their second year. So listen, at the end of the day, let them have their moment.
Could they though? Because Bodo Glimt have got all their players back and they beat Lazio 3-0, and Lazio are better than Tottenham.
Yeah, listen,
I never. You've been there. It's a horrible pitch. It ain't easy.
Listen, it's not a very, like, you know, I've actually played on bigger grounds when I played in non-league. I'll tell you that now. Like it's nothing spectacular. And you made a great point earlier on today when we was talking. You know, they struggled against Tamworth on a plastic pitch. Now this team's going to be 10 times better or 30 times better than Tamworth. You know what I mean? So listen, it's done and dusted at 3-0. You know what I mean? When they got that one goal, it gives us hope. But you know what, Dan? It's the hope that kills you, mate. It's the hope that kills you. Accept it. They're in the final against Man United, the two worst teams. One of them's going to get Champions League football. The other one's going to have the worst season they've had for a very, very long while. And listen, Man United, I think, would be slight favourites. They've gone to Bilbao already, the stadium where the final's being played, and won 3-0. So, listen, we're just going to have to accept it. And at the end of the day, it bears nothing on us. I know that sounds silly and all that. Like, you've got to get all of that out of the way. Don't worry what they're doing, whatever everybody else is doing. I'd rather be in the Champions League and be where we are than losing 19 games.
Well, there is a scenario, Lee, that no one's spoken about, bruv. Arsenal winning the Champions League and Spurs winning the Europa League. That could happen.
And then you play in the Super Cup.
There we go. No one spoke about that yet. It's always about one goes out, one wins. What if both win?
Well, if that's the case, then that's the case.
I wouldn't like that Super Cup, though. I must say that'd be horrible.
Well, that'd be that'd make it a bit more spicy, wouldn't it? Wherever that'd be. Do you imagine both teams, Tottenham and Arsenal, in the same city?
Cool.
That'd be like. Listen, Europe won't want that. You know what I mean? So if Arsenal were in the final, right? I wouldn't be surprised there's a couple of bad decisions going Tottenham's way in the next couple, like that. I mean, so come on, Arsenal, do yourselves a favour. You know what the UEFA has bent as a 9-bob note. So listen, get in there and let's do our business and see what happens, like, you know. But
look, we are looking at
terrible
yeah.
week. It's been a terrible week, like, you know. Obviously with Arsenal doing what they've done, and then like Tottenham and Man United winning, Ronnie O'Sullivan getting thumped. Yeah, I'm going to say this now, Dan. If Ronnie O'Sullivan comes back and beats this guy, right, Arsenal will win the Champions League. That's you know what I mean? Like, it's not happening. But yeah, so it's not been a great week. It's not been a great week.
It ain't, mate, if I'm honest with you. The couple of comments here as well. Aaron says, who would you rather guys win, Spurs or United? For me, I don't think that's even a question.
No, it's not.
Manchester United, obviously. I don't know that I want Tottenham to win a bloody coin toss or a friendly, let alone a bloody any form of trophy, mate. That's for sure. But look, long way for all the teams to go. Actually, I think we talk as if it's literally a game or two away, but it's not. There's a long way to go for. You know, Spurs have still got to go and beat Bodo. You know, Bodo score first. That's going to be very, very interesting because they got to win 2-0, take the extras. Arsenal score first. It's going to be very, very interesting because that could go to extras. So it's a long way to go. Football's very, very funny, Lee, and you know, you look at how many predictions have we all said and we've got wrong over the years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly that. Like, you know, and listen, I've you know, since Tuesday, a lot of people have been slagging me off about being negative and like everything like that because they just see a clip, you know what I mean, of me doing me nuts. I don't actually see the whole video and don't make a comment about that. You know what I mean? People jumping on the bandwagon on one snippet of it. If you add the intelligence to watch the whole thing, you can see that it's not all about, I'm not slagging the team off or whatever. I'm just disappointed about the performance. Asked if we can win it, of course we can. Do I think that we will? I think that I think it's going to be very, very difficult. We're going to have to do a madness to get through, Dan. I really do. It's not like we're going to some second-rate team in Norway to get a result. We're actually going to one of the top teams in Europe. And listen, I've been to Paris before. Their atmosphere, what they do on that away game is what they do the whole stadium. It is electric. It's a very, very difficult place to go and play. Now, on that experience of that I've encountered, we've done well. We've got a draw over there on the two occasions. We've got to get better than a draw, you know. So listen, I think it's going to be a really, really difficult one. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Can we do it? Yes, we can. I think there was a song about that, like, you know. So anyway, but it's going to be really, really, really difficult. And I listen. I still hold on to everything I've said about last week. What can I say? I think at the end of the day, disappointed we didn't turn up, blah, 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 blah. Lots of things wrong about it. As I said to you earlier on, though, and I will say this, if we get through this game, then I will hold my hands up. The man's a genius because, there is that thing of, well, we kept it 1-0, got his better players back, blah, 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 blah. Who knows? And if he does do it, I have to say that, it'd be Mikel's biggest achievement and fantastic to him. But I've seen this show so many times, you know what I mean? Like when I think that Arsenal are going to do it, like, under this, it's incredible that our last 3 semi-finals, we haven't even scored. I think, you know what I mean? Like we lost to Villarreal. I think, did we lose to Villarreal? I can't remember where
we lost 1-0 and drew 0-0, wasn't it? Or something like that.
Right. Yeah, something like that. We lost 1-0 and drew 0-0 out. Obviously, the Newcastle game 4-0. And now this one, we're on 0 at the moment, like, And if you put in, that's not without, that's with Mikel. But don't forget, if you're going to Wenger, you can go to the Man United one 4-0 on aggregate, like, let down. Yeah. So, listen, I don't think it's all on the manager. I think the players have to take a bit of responsibility as well. Didn't perform well. I'll tell you, I'm gonna give up a big. How can I say it? Like, to two guys that I've got a lot of respect for, talk so much sense and articulate. Is that the word I'm looking for? Articulate it so much better than I do. You know what I mean? And that is Harry Symeou. I thought that he's talked on about the fans, talking about tactics and all that. It is absolutely magnificent. If you can get a chance to go and see that, go and see it.
What's that, on Talk Sport or on his channel?
No, he's on his Chronicles of a Gooner. It is. I'm listening there like I'm like a nodding donkey. But he hasn't got the emotion. I'm not saying that he hasn't, but he can get it across without the emotions that I do. And I wish I could be a little bit more like that. And from Forever Arsenal, Jordan done a fan cam. It's, you know what I mean, like so articulate. I wish I could be like that. You know what I mean? But this is what makes our sport and football so fantastic, Dan, that we're not all the same.
Yeah.
We're all different. You know what I mean? Like we're all different. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people actually that don't get the views they should, in my opinion. And there's people like that I look at and I think, crikey, you're spot on, and they deserve more subs, more views, more people talked about them. Do you know what I mean? Like I listen to some and I think, crikey, you're spot on there, And I think, Harry does. He's not one that don't get views. Harry's big at what he's doing, and Jordan likewise as well. They're not two examples of that, but I listen to some people. I think Sharoy is incredibly articulate.
Oh yes, I listen. Sorry. Yes, please.
I think Sharoy. I've always been a fan of him.
Fantastic fan cam. After you've lost 1-0, look how cool and calm he was. Like,
I wish I could be like that. I wish I could.
Oh my God, I wish I could be like that. Like, you know what I mean?
And me and you were ranting and raving and getting the ump, but people just the way he sits there, he's composed, he's calm, and he's basically saying what we're saying, but in a cool, calm manner. It's like very, very, very good. I've always been a fan of Sharon. I know him. You do as well. He's a great lad, and I think he deserves a lot more credit. Albert as well. Albert TV,
brilliant.
Another one, brilliant.
He's got the sexiest man that I've ever. You know what I mean? Like, if I was gay, he's the man because.
So I mean, so there's a lot of people that don't get the credit they deserve.
Yeah, and so, but like, listen, and that, do you know what I took a lot of heat this week. A lot of people, slagging me off. There's a few making a bit of money on the side, just trying to jump on the bandwagon and slagging me off and everything like that. So I've been watching it. And do you know what's fascinating me more than anything, Dan, is that everybody has got different views. Everybody's got different ways of doing it, and that's what makes it. So. All right, I went off the trolley. I went off it. I didn't actually go off the trolley because we lost the game. It was never about that. It was about Robbie winding me up, like, you know what I mean? So pressing me buttons more than anything, like, you know what I mean? And listen, credit to Robbie, he knows how to do it, like, and we've known each other for years, and he knows that he can do that to me, and I know he knows that I can shout back at him and whatever. And listen, it's frustration. It's, you know what I mean, frustration, not that we didn't win the game. And people support the team so differently. And that's what I do it. Listen, Dan, me and you have got different views on certain things. Now, but we've got a great relationship. Now, there's news out there today that's not going to please everybody, but it's going to please me that Kai Havertz is looking like to be back by the end of the season, which is fantastic news. There's a lot of people I know that are not going to be happy with that, Dan. Like, you know what I mean? But that is football, and that is what it's about. It's about opinions. Now, I don't. Do you know what? One of the things that really grates on me a little bit, and I've never done this. I don't speak for Arsenal fans. I speak for myself. I don't represent Arsenal fans. People turn around and go, "Oh, no, I don't. Never have done. I represent myself." You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I'm just one of a load of fans. But what's hurt me a lot more than anything, right, is that our fan base are prepared to slag me off for being negative, whoever you or whatever, right? But the whole of the football fraternity have turned on us about our fans and everything like that. We're not good supporters, we're not, and we've let it go. We just, yeah, I agree. But me and you can turn around and go, you know, that football team, we were crap today. Don't be so negative. There's only half time. It's 1-0. It's still loads of goal, all that. Everybody slag off. Oh, our Arsenal fans were pathetic at the stadium. Yeah, all right, you know, it's cost us and all that. It was cost us the game, that did. All your players waving at the crowd to get them all going and all that, like, you know, that's cost us the game. You know what I mean? Come on. I'm telling you, like, you know, it wasn't that bad at the Emirates on Tuesday night. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what anybody says. And at the end of the day, yeah, someone just saying that Barcelona. I watched the Barcelona Inter Milan. I didn't see Barcelona fans cheering and all that. Like, and do you know what? I didn't hear the Inter fans. And do you know why I didn't hear the Inter fans, Dan? Because they were so bloody high up, no one could see them. Until Arsenal sort that out, we're going to have this problem all the time. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, listen, there's lots of things wrong and all that. Like, you know, and listen, it wasn't a great night for Arsenal and everything like that. But not at one stage do I think that we are out of it yet, because we're not. But it's going to be a really, really tough ask. And if we do it, we've got to do a madness. I talked to one of my Spurs mates, Mark, manager of our vets team, like, you know, horrible Spurs fan, but a lovely guy. Turned around and said, Lee, just remember Ajax, we was 1-0 down, should have been 4-0 down. We created a madness. I hope you don't do that, but that's what can happen. And he's right. It can happen. You know what I mean? Like, but we need a madness, Dan. We need an absolute madness to get through. And listen, in football, anything can happen.
It can. Anything can happen. And we need a bit of a turnaround. Before we move forward to that, let's quickly touch on the game, because we haven't done that yet together. I want to touch on the fans really quickly, because I'm with you. That ain't the reason that we lost the game. I spoke to Curtis earlier, and we were saying, as much as it was embarrassing, that cringeworthy video that Mikel Arteta put out, that Tifo flag that looked like a bloody duvet or a shower curtain that someone had hung down, it was embarrassing, let's be honest, right? It was.
Yeah, I like that.
But it weren't the reason that we lost the game. The fans where I were, I'm quite lucky because I sit at Red Action, North Bank, so I'm actually always standing up and always singing with everyone, so we're always quite loud. Couldn't actually hear how bad it was around the stadium because everyone was screaming and shouting where I was. But that is just my personal viewpoint. Somebody else might have been sat elsewhere thinking, where the hell is everyone? What are we doing here? Why are the PSG fans louder? But I can't speak for that because I wasn't there. But that ain't the reason that we didn't win the game. I'm going to say a few things now, Lee, that I just want to, and I said this with Curtis, and it's kind of rebolts and nullifies all the excuses that I've heard over why we lost this game. Because the first one was the fans and the atmosphere was bad. Well, that don't actually have as much of a influence on a result. It might give you moments in games. It might lift you when the need be, but it don't make a result a win, loss, or draw. The other excuse I've heard is that he had nothing that he could do because we've got injuries. Well, I'll tell you why that's bollocks. Okay, and this is where you and Robbie were kind of arguing here. I didn't see Mourinho go up top once. I didn't see Ethan come on until the 89th minute. I didn't see Odegaard come off until the 89th minute. I didn't see Lewis-Skelly tried in midfield. I didn't see Tierney coming on at left back so that he could be moved into midfield. I didn't see Zinchenko go into midfield. So there's 4 options there that I've just given you that he could have if he wanted to. Doesn't have to, but he could have done that at some point in the game. Now, if he would have done that after 25 minutes even, I'd have gone, geez, fair play, ruthless but brutal. He had to do it. We were getting dominated for that first half hour. He's changed it. He's brought someone in midfield with legs, athleticism. Marino's gone back up top. PSG fan, you know him, Stuart, the Parisian Gooner. He said, why the hell did Marino not play up front? He's like, I was worried about that. He's like, luckily you put 5'7" Trossard up there. And the only weakness our 2 centre-halves have got is they can't do anything from set pieces. And I was absolutely devastated that Marino was going to be up top. Luckily, he went in midfield and he was invisible. And Trossard's got no height. He said, that was brilliant. I hope you do that again second leg. Hopefully we won't because Partey will be back. So he didn't try and do anything there, right? And if he would have done that and we would have lost 1-0 and he would have brought on Zinchenko and Tierney's at left back and Lewis-Skelly's moved to the midfield and Marino's gone back up top, I would have gone, I think we've been beaten by the better side here. He's tried everything. He had no answer. But to just sit there stubbornly and do nothing is absolutely crazy for me, right? So people will say, well, he can't do all that because he doesn't really trust them. Right. So we're now coming back to last season then because he didn't trust Sterling. He didn't trust Nelson last season and he didn't trust Vieira last season and he didn't really trust Smith Rowe last season. He didn't really trust Eddie and Nketiah. But this season, last season, we're all sitting on the bench. This season, he don't trust Zinchenko anymore. He don't trust Raheem Sterling, who's his summer signing. He don't trust Kieran Tierney because he's out the door in a summer back to Celtic. So we're back to that again. Last season, against Aston Villa and Bayern Munich, he dropped Kai Havertz from striker to midfield and we went out of the Premier League and the Champions League. Not solely on that decision, but that did not work. Now, after beating Real Madrid, he's decided to drop Mourinho back into the midfield. Now, apparently that is his position, and it just shows how bad of a signing that has been, to be honest, in terms of a midfielder. It's not going to work there. It's another number 8 we've signed. That ain't going to be good enough for Arsenal, right? But as a striker, he's done all right. And he's dropped him back into midfield, which is what we've heard before, and it ain't worked again. Now, you've just told me that Kai Havertz is back. Good. Marino's back in midfield then. And it don't work, yeah? It does not work when he's in midfield. He's invisible there. He doesn't do anything there. I don't see what he does there. Doesn't drive us forward, no athleticism, no box-to-box. A few nice flick-ons, which he's doing from the night. He tries to basically do what he's good at up top. He tries to bring that to the midfield, and he can't do it because he's too deep. It just doesn't work for me. It just does not work, right? So that's that there. So if he don't trust these players, normally you would say, give him his own players and hopefully you can trust him then. But these are his own players. So he doesn't trust Zinchenko, who's his signing. He doesn't trust Sterling, who's his signing. He doesn't trust Fabio Vieira, who's his signing. He doesn't trust Eddie Nketiah, who gets 100 grand a week and 14 on his back by his word. He doesn't trust Reece Nelson, who's gone out on loan again, but is on 100 grand a week, so no one can sell him because he can't afford him, who's now gone out on loan, who he decided to give a contract to. So why is he keeping these players and signing these players he does not trust? That is a huge question mark for me. And I don't know why, lastly, we cannot ever say that it might be the manager that got this wrong this game. It just seems like that is the last thing on the resort. Last resort is Arteta. Players, slate them all you want. Fans, slate them all you want. Tifos, take the piss out of it. Plastic bags, take the piss out of it. Players we bought in that aren't good enough, not Arteta's fault. Players that were of old, it was Edu. Hang on a minute, this guy might actually need to get some criticism because in every single semi-final, he's bottled it. In every single pressurised game, he ain't done the job. And this is the question mark we've got now. And it ain't now. This is if we lose on Wednesday night. There is the question mark of what do we do? Now, I know what we're going to do. We're going to keep him and we're going to give Berta a summer with him and he's going to get another season and he's going to go again. So we will have this same discussion next season if we're in this similar scenario where we're out of everything and we're clinging on to one trophy. That's the one we can have. And then there'll be a question like this that comes up about would Simeone be doing better with this squad? Mikel's got one season left to prove that he has it. We can have that question next May because he's going to beat it, Lee, right? Yeah. If he wins this Champions League, fair play. He's done it and got us across the line. I've just got to ask this simple question to you. Is he not allowed to be criticised ever?
Well,
I've just got to ask that question. I don't get it, bruv.
This is the thing, you know what I mean? Like, right, you know my thoughts on Mikel. I don't want him sacked at this moment. I think he's done a great job to get us where we are at this moment in time. But my God, he can be criticised. And, you know, people turn around and why, like some of the things that have been directed at me. Oh, why haven't you ever been a top class manager? Why, you know what I mean? You know, you think you can do a better job than Mikel Arteta? No, I'm not saying that. I'm a fan that's got an opinion. Like everybody's got an opinion, right? Now, at the end of the day, I think Mikel has done wonders. He's a great manager, done some unbelievable things considering with no experience. But at the end of the day, he's not going to get it right every single time, Dan. And when he doesn't, I'm going to say, you know what I mean, and not be there. Listen, these fans that don't want Mikel sacked and all that, right, are the same fans that are saying because someone gets it wrong with a flag, right, or a toupee, whatever they call it, right, they want him sacked straight away. Get him sacked. You know what I mean? I thought it was wonderful, with the bags and the sight of the red and white all around the stadium. The thing with the lights was fantastic and everything like that. All of a sudden, he does one mistake, this bloke, with a flag, sack him. But Mikel, now you can carry on doing what you want, mate. No problems. No, I'm not saying sack him, but I'm saying he's up there to be criticised. And I think he was. I still go back and say about putting Miles Lewis-Skelly in there. It's one change. You just bring in Tierney, move one. What we had to do what he done, we had to move Mikel back. We had to move Rice back. I just think there was too much. And people turn around and say, well, he's never played in the midfield. Well, he has. He's played in midfield every single game this season for us because he goes in there. And listen, it might not have worked then. I don't care, like, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? But what I would have thought that we wouldn't have got run all over like we did. Now, Dan, I'm going to be really honest. If we'd have lost 3-2, like 3-3 against Barcelona, the Barcelona Inter game the other day, and we give it a bloody good go, and it was end to end, and it was like, you know, I wouldn't have come out and said, oh, I'm disappointed in that, because we turned up and give it a go. But this game here, we didn't turn up. That's what I'm frustrated about now. Is that tactics? Is that like, you know, whatever? We didn't do it against Newcastle with a lot less pressure. And you thought after the Newcastle game they'd have learned their lessons. And that's what I think that I'm a little bit more peeved about, is that here we are again not learning our lessons. Aston Villa last season we go into that game for the first time with the league in our own hands. No one else in the league had it in their hands but us, and we blew it. You know what I mean? At home. I look back at Bayern Munich last season. Massive game. Blew it. We had the chance to win that game, blew it. Went over there. Now everybody's going, oh, we can go over to Paris and all that like and do that. We went over to Bayern Munich and we went out on a limp. It wasn't we didn't go down all guns blazing or like, you know what I mean? Like it was a pathetic performance if you look back at it, like, you know, and that was a pathetic performance on Tuesday, you know, and you can't say that, Lee. But it was a pathetic banner though, wasn't it? And the fans were pathetic. And the Arsenal fans in the stadium, you're a disgrace, but you can't say that about the Arsenal and Arteta. You know, come on, let's just get it all round and all that, like, you know. And listen, I've been speaking to a few Arsenal fans since and all that. And do you know one of the biggest positives, Dan, of it all? It was only 1-0. You know what I mean? It could have been 3 or 4.
Yeah, could have.
You know what I mean? So yeah, we had our chances as well. And it's true what someone said to me today. If you look back at it, in the second half, there weren't a lot in it. Now, I will turn around and go, that's maybe because they changed their tactics a little bit and we're happy with what they've got. But at the end of the day, you know, if we can get a goal against them, you never know. You never know. So I do think that, you know, and for me, everybody, there's a lot of people I see putting clown emojis of Arteta out and this and this and that. Sack him. He's got another leg to redeem himself. if we go away and beat Paris 3 or 4-0, people will go, wow, what, he could have lost it in the first leg, but he didn't. He kept in it, and then he's gone over there and done a madness. So that's where I am at this moment in time. Do I think that is going to happen? I'm not got the confidence, you know what I mean? But then again, Dan, I'm going to be really honest. I went over to Madrid thinking that they might turn it around. So what do I know about that? All I know is that I can support her. And a lot of people turn around and go, oh, I don't need you as a supporter and all that. If anybody's ever been next to me in the ground, I cheer and give it all our best from 1 minute to the 90th. Once the game's finished, then that's it. I'll have my piece and all that, And I'll be up for that game on Tuesday. Sorry, on next Wednesday. Don't worry about that. I definitely will be. But at the end of the day, does it matter who's manager, who's up front, who's in the midfield, as long as we win that game? It does. I do not care. I do not care. If Kai Havertz is up front and he scores the winner, listen, and I know that there's people that slag off Kai Havertz and all that. If Kai Havertz scores in the last minute and wins us the game, everybody's going mad, Dan. Does that make you wrong? Does that make you fickle? No, it doesn't. You've just got an opinion. And people have got opinion. And listen, I'm not going to slag anybody who wants to, say that Arsenal win all the time. Because at the end of the day, how you support the team is how you support the team. I don't say to you, you're wrong how you support the team. You never say, oh, and I'm never going to do that, And if I'll be really honest, I wish I could support Arsenal differently. I wish I could. I'm being serious. I wish I could go home and get a good night's sleep. We're talking early hours in the mornings.
Yeah.
No one can get to sleep and all that. You know what I mean? People are different, and that's what makes it fascinating.
Facts. No, absolutely, mate. Well said. I must say it's crazy. The amount of people that keep saying Dan's been in the sun. I look really sunburned here because my lighting is all
You've been out in the sun. You've been in a beer garden.
Yeah. No, I have been the last couple of weeks, not just a beer garden, my garden as well. And I look really brown, and then I put these lights on in here, and I look like Rudolph. You know what I mean? Beetroot.
No, don't knock it down. You look well, son. You look well. That's what it's got to be out there.
That's the way it is, mate. That's the way it is. No, look, I'm with you, and do you know what? I suppose it's the beauty of some of the panels I run on my show is that I get people on that are like, I can't want this manager gone, and I put them with people that want this manager in, because that's what it's about, right? I mean, let's be honest. If we all sat on here every single day and went, I know, I know, isn't Mikel great? Isn't Mikel great? Wouldn't it be boring if we all thought the same? Do you know what I mean? 100%. It'd be boring, And I like listening to people that love Mikel Arteta, that think he's the best, because I'm like, can you try and change my mind? They ain't done it yet, by the way, but maybe one day they might, you know what I mean? They might say something. And to be fair, in their defense, they have said stuff that I thought, okay, yeah, I'm with you there. I kind of get that. And I think that there's the extreme that are like, you got Yardman, you got Lee Gunner, you got Northside that are like, want him sacked tonight. You've got those that are like, he's got to win me, Sank, like me. Otherwise, I'm with you. And then you got those in the middle that are like, I mean, Stricto said last night, the meme of the guy who's trying to find the diamond. He's trying to find the diamond. He's digging, and he stops just as he's about to hit it and gives up. He feels like that with Mikel Arteta. He thinks it is going to happen. Don't give up yet. We're so close. You got the others that are like, I just like him and I just think he's going to win one day and I'm happy to be patient and wait. I don't think any of us are right or wrong. We've all got a different way of opinion of how we're going to do something, because what we actually want is the same thing. That's where we are all the same. All of us want to win. We just see it very differently in terms of, when he used that roadmap example, didn't he, Mikel, which I thought was quite cringe, if I'm honest, back then. But we all are, to use his analogies, we're a bit like that. We all see different ways and routes as to how we get to this trophy. Some of us want him gone. Some of us want him to stay. Some of us don't believe in him. Some of us not convinced yet. Some of us believe, but we're happy to be patient. We're all very, very different in how we see things. And I suppose that's the beauty of the sport that we love, isn't it, really? That's the beautiful game for you.
He's dead that, and I get the frustration of not winning, you know what I mean, at the end of it, Now, don't get me wrong, if we wasn't where we was and we was where Tottenham were now or whatever, we'd all be wanting him sacked. You know what I mean? The same people would want him sacked, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's what it is. You got people are going to listen. we've got Lawrence in the chat, right? Let's ask Lawrence the question, right? If Mikel wins the Champions League, do you still want him gone? I bet he says yes. You can't. It's in what we do in life. You're never going to please everybody, Dan. You're never going to please everybody, right? And that's where we are. You know, he might win the Champions League this season, and he might win the league next season, and then they turn around and go, "Well, he didn't win the Champions. He didn't win the Champions League again. He's got to go." Oh, listen, I've seen manager. I think it was bloody hell! I'm getting terrible with names. Who was the manager that was Capello? I remember Capello won the championship, David Beckham's last season at Real Madrid, but they didn't win the Champions League. They sacked him.
There you go. Well, Lawrence has answered. He agreed. He says, "Yeah, no way. I don't want this clown manager to stay."
There you go.
Whatever. So, but again, is that wrong of him to say that? It's his opinion, isn't it?
It's his opinion. It's his opinion. I'm not going to slate him for it. Why should I do? And say I don't want your negativity around here and all that. Like, you know what I mean? The bloke has got an opinion, and if I might not agree with that, and probably some people will, some people won't. But I'm not going to fall out over it and call him this, and you know what I mean? Like, and at the end of the day, that's what football's about. You got to have a thick skin, because I tell you this now, Dan. Right? You could watch me play and go, do you know what? I don't think you're a good player, and like you can and someone will do. You know what I mean? Like my favourite player, of all my favourite Arsenal players would not make the top 20 of Arsenal players in the league, in the best Arsenal. But that's because I like them players for whatever reason. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. Look, if he wins the Champions League, then he's done.
I'll change. I'll ask you a question. Dan, I think that's crap. Right, I'm going to tell you why. Right, if he wins the Champions League this season and we're fourth from bottom after 10 games, what are you going to say?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Well, next season's a new season, isn't it?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Whatever he does with the Champions League this season, it's on to the next one. And I'm sorry, don't matter if you're Champions League, you know, and if that was the case, right, Dan, yeah, what, not Ranieri, Ranieri would still be manager at Leicester.
Yeah, exactly.
And the absolute madness and won the league. He still got sacked then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, win the league, like, you know, you then got to go.
We win the Champions League, we've got to win the Premier League next year. It's not like it's done now, job done, that's it. You don't have to win anymore.
100%.
You know what I mean? So, he's one of those,
100%.
You know, and that's the way it is. Yeah, look, Don Carlo here. Dan Potts is known as a negative fan, always moaning, saying he's sick and tired. Win something, and I might not be that negative, Don Carlo. Do you know what I'm saying? When he wins something, I'll be the first to congratulate and praise him. But look, let's talk a little bit on what we have to do now. And I've got to start by talking about a player that needs to turn up. I'll make a statement, actually, and see if you agree with this. Dropping Martin Odegaard might be the best thing for him at the moment. Is that true or is that false?
For him personally, yes. For the club, maybe not. I think that maybe it should have been done 2-3 weeks ago. I don't think you can do it now. I've had conversations with this over the last couple of weeks. I think that, you know, you're going away from home. Biggest game Arsenal have had for a very, very long while. You've got to believe in the players. And as a manager, you know what he can do. I think you just got to trust him to see if he can do it. It's a massive, massive call to do it. Does he deserve to be in the team at this moment in time, Dan? No, he doesn't. I think Mikel would probably admit that in private. They might be having conversations about it. But at the end of the day, I've always said this. There's players. I've played with players and they're undroppable, even if they're not playing well, because they might. There's always that in it. Oh, he might do the business today. He might not. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and how can I say this? Martin Odegaard needs his manager's trust more now than he's ever done. More than he's ever done, he needs it now. He needs us fans to back him more than they've ever done in the past, because he is going through a tough time. We know he's not playing well. We know he's got ability. He's nowhere near at the standards that he should be. I thought he was terrible again on Tuesday night. But what he needs now is the manager's support and trust and the players' support and trust. If he gets that and he still fails, then I'm saying that, you know, come back at next season and go again, Mikel. Martin.
Do you? Because I'll say this, I would drop him. Okay, I'll tell you what is going to happen. What's going to happen is a scenario you've just given. Arteta's going to believe in him. Arteta ain't dropping him. He will play on Wednesday. He probably will play tomorrow, and he's going to keep playing him. Now, even if he doesn't start to improve, Mikel Arteta will stick up for him because he's his captain, he's his leader, and he trusts him and he loves him and he's his player, right? But I think for his own good, if he ain't fit, why are we playing him? If he's taking painkillers and injections, why is he playing? If he has in droppable form, why can't he be dropped? If you are going to drop him, you kind of kill two birds, because a lot of the fans are saying drop him and give Rice the captaincy. Well, if we drop Odegaard, we'll have to give the captaincy to Rice, because Gabriel ain't there at the moment anyway, and he's the only other one.
Give it to Saka
with the armband. Do you think he would?
Yeah, I'd lay money on it. If he leaves Odegaard out, I reckon Saka will become captain before Rice.
Why do you think he won't give it to Rice?
Because I just think that he feels that Rice is the captain without the armband. I don't know. I just got a feeling that
it's weird, man. It's weird. I mean, look, the captaincy thing is actually by the by, to be fair, because I don't think he's going to be stripped of it ever, and I think he's going to continue playing him. But if he is going to continue playing, I need to see performances. And if I'm honest with you, I put a lot of his performances on the manager as well. And people might think that's crazy and that's harsh, but something's wrong with him, and he keeps playing him, and he keeps playing him, and he's not looking at, we might need an operation. What's he playing for then, Mikel? Why is he playing? Oh, he's taking injections still. What's he playing for? Because it's clearly affecting him. Whatever it is injury-wise, that is clearly not doing any good for him going forward. Yeah,
Listen,
he hasn't got a striker, I keep hearing. He hasn't got a striker. Neither Saka ain't got a striker in front of him. Yeah, Martinelli ain't got a striker in front of him. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just this. It ain't just him. He can't have, we have to have the whole pieces of the puzzle for him to have a good game. Load of crap, man. This is a guy we've spent a lot of money on, 250k a week, captain, leader of Arsenal. He's not doing the job. He's got to be called out.
Yeah, and quite rightly so. Now, listen, I'll go back to the 1993 Cup final, right? Ian Wright broke his toe. I don't know if you remember it. You might be a bit too young for it. I don't know. I think you must remember it. But he broke his toe and he had to have an injection. It lasted 70 minutes and then he had to come off. It goes. But he still scored in that game. He still contributed. So when people go, why are you having that injection? Because, you can't do without him.
Mm.
I imagine if he was having an injection and he was being nursed through this sort of thing, I think it was at first because, we couldn't wait to get him back. We was counting down the days to get him back. I honestly think, Dan, and I'm not sticking up for him in any I think that injury was a lot worse than what it was made out to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he come back probably a lot earlier than what he should have done. So big up to him because he wants to get back and help the team out and everything like that. And I think that shows leading qualities because he could turn around and go, no, I'm not quite fit and all that like that. But he's got himself worked hard to get himself back and everything like that. And for me, I've been there with an ankle injury. It's frustrating. You're never quite at it. Once you finish the game, your ankle swells up. You have to give a couple of days icing it to get back down. And you play again, it swells up again and everything like that. And I'm going to agree with what you're saying now wholeheartedly. If this is the case and he's not producing performances, then it's the time to say, right, I'm leaving you out for his own good. For his own good. So there will... It'll be a big surprise if he's playing on Sunday, if I'll be honest. But And if we do go out on Wednesday, he probably won't play for the next couple of games after that. Like I don't think.
Well,
So
to be fair, if we go out on Wednesday, the season ends there.
now,
You know, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you got to get this top four, this top four." I mean, Chris is really worried about it. By the way, Chris Hudson, he actually thinks we're going to struggle to win another game in the Premier League, and that could light us down. Southampton away, we got to beat them. But Liverpool at Anfield, we ain't beating them yet. Newcastle, we've lost to 3 times, soon to be 4 if we carry on playing the way we're playing. And Bournemouth tomorrow, we'll come and touch on it before we close quickly. I ain't confident at all.
No.
You know, I really ain't. I don't know what you'd do tomorrow, mate. Would you go and make full wholesale changes? Or what
yes, you've got to, and hope that Liverpool beat Chelsea. Is one of the reasons you've got to have the other teams around you foul. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I'd love Nottingham Forest to survive to get Champions League football, but that was a good result for us yesterday. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, that was a good result for us. I'm sorry that it was. Liverpool beating Chelsea is what we want. I don't see us beating Bournemouth on Sunday. I fear probably the best we can hope for is a draw. I then look at it and think like we need one win, really. I think to make sure we get into the top 5, and that will be the last game of the season at Southampton, as you say. I don't think that we'll beat Liverpool away. Certainly won't beat Liverpool away if we've gone out on the Wednesday. That would be like, you know, that would be a difficult game for us. And Newcastle, well, maybe we might get ourselves back up for it when we need to, like, you know. So, but again, at home, anything can happen at home. So, listen, for me, if we can get the result Sunday without playing our big players, then fantastic. But I don't hold out much hope. What I've seen over the last few weeks, Dan, I'll be really honest, it's been poor. We'll see what happens. And for me, if we can get a result on Sunday without playing some of our big guns, that will be a fantastic result for us moving on to Wednesday. That's how I see it.
It'd be huge if we can win by resting. We got to rotate. I don't want to see Rice. I don't want to see Timber. I don't want to see Saka. I don't want to see Lewis-Skelly, if I'm honest. And I think we've got to rest a few. Now, it doesn't mean we go play kids, but Tierney, Zinchenko, you know, they're not kids.
No,
they've got to come in. Sterling's got to come in. Trossard's should start. Wanyeri's got to start. These are the players that have got to come in.
Partey's got to start, which is a gamble.
Yeah, Partey's got to play. He's the only one we've got.
2 weeks since his last game. So he needs to play.
So he's got to play. He has got to play. And then we go on to Wednesday. I've got one more question before we wrap. These 2 super chats come in. Lawrence, big up to you, mate. It says, Dan, how can you back this manager who doesn't make changes till 7 minutes from the time to save a game he's 1-0 down in? I don't think I've been backing him much this stream, to be honest with you, Lawrence. But
Lawrence, one thing I will say to that, and what a lot of people have said, look at the context of it. It's only one half. That's the only reason I can think of it. Like, you know, if you can make those changes, you go 2-0 down.
I don't back Mikel Arteta. If he doesn't not win, I want him sacked. I've said if we go out and don't win this Champions League, I want him sacked. And people think that's negative. But if he doesn't win the Champions League, I would replace him.
Yeah,
I've said that since day one, and I'll stand by it. Lawrence has also said
that's important, that question, because if we do go and win over there, you have to look back and go, why didn't he make those changes? Because we still wanted to keep himself in for the second leg. So I'm not sticking up for him when I'm saying this. That's why you got to hold your powder dry on that one. But if he doesn't, then that question has got to be raised. Yes.
100%. He says we've got 3 hopes of turning things around on Wednesday. Slim hope, no hope, and Bob effing hope. He thinks we're out, and you know what? We could be. Grange Dude says allowing Vieira to go out on loan with no backup for Odegaard was criminal. He'd be so useful to have now playing in pointless games so we can rest Odegaard. Listen, I can't sit there and deny or say that's true. That's your opinion. I don't rate Fabio Vieira at all. However, the windows have been nothing short of a shambles in the last couple, and that needs to change. Now we've got Andrea Berta in the summer, to be honest. Let me ask you, Lee, Partey back for the second leg. That is massive. Marino to go back up top. Rest of the team picks itself. Are we agreeing that that's probably the case? And how confident 100%. Are you we can turn it around?
100%. I'm more confident that we can turn it around with that midfield than what I was on. Dan, I'll be really honest. I was looking forward to the game. As soon as he done that, when that team come out, I was deflated. You know what I mean? We was at the pub when it was like, I didn't say we was going to lose, but I actually thought, this is now tighter than what it's going to be. I said like we could win 3-1. Soon as that team come out, I said, 2-1 at the best. I'm so much more confident with Thomas Partey because it's not about Thomas Partey. Like, you know what I mean? Thomas Partey is a fantastic player and a great holding midfield player. But we haven't got no one what Declan Rice did. Declan Rice done one run yesterday when he burst through their midfield. Sorry, on Tuesday. Played it in a Trossard and 1-on-1. Imagine if he's doing that 3 or 4 or 5 times. You know what I mean? Like, that is the key. Declan Rice is the reason that we beat Real Madrid because no one could touch him on the football field doing what he was doing. He was not restricted into runs and whatever. He could go where he wanted to go. Why could he go wherever he wanted to go? Because he had Thomas Partey sitting in. And it's a lovely thing to have that you've got someone as good as that to sit in while you can run around doing whatever you want. And I feel if you go and look at Harry's content and that, he sort of alludes to that a little bit. And so for me, that midfield, them two, and then a 7 out of 10 or upwards on Odegaard, we got a chance.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I think the team picks itself. Marino goes back up top, Saka and Martinelli. I would play Ethan, but it is going to be Odegaard, Partey and Rice. Timber, hopefully, who's back. Lewis-Skelly, and then obviously Saliba, Kivior and Raya. That gives us domination in midfield and Marino up top, who can link up with Saka and Martinelli. I think that gives us the best chance that we can. I actually do think the score is going to be 1-1, and I think we will go out on aggregate, but I hope I'm wrong, and I have been wrong before. Let me get your prediction for tomorrow first, and we'll go on to PSG another time.
I'm going for a boring 1-0 win.
Okay. I'm going to go 1-1 tomorrow.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to win. I think it's going to be a draw, but we
it's
shall
tomorrow,
see.
It's not Sunday, is it? It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow 5:30. Yeah.
5:30, I mean, I keep thinking it's Sunday kick off. It ain't, is it?
Yeah, I know. There we go. Listen, people, big up to everyone that's here. Thank you for your super chats to Lawrence and the guys. Thank you so much for the comments as well in the comment section. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. We are very, very closely moving towards 50K. And I am very, very close to 38K on Football's 12th Man. So please come and say hello and subscribe over there as well. Dropped a show with Curtis. Got one with Deluded at 7:30 as well. So come and show some love over there too. And Lee, I'll let you say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, listen, it's not been a great week. We've all had better weeks. But tomorrow is another day. 5:30 kickoff. We're all rearing up for it, aren't we? Like, you know, there won't be no flags flying. It'll be just an ordinary Premier League game. Come on, the Arsenal. We win this game tomorrow, and then we get ready to party in Paris. Have a good one.